You know what all the cool kids are doing these days? Listening to podcasts. And what does Toxic Radio have? Podcasts, duh.
Just as I thought.
Go to toxicradio.net and check out our weekly schedule for the lineup of great shows. Miss any of them live? No worries.
Thank God, dude.
We're on all the top podcast platforms, or just find them at toxicradio.net or on the free app. The choice is yours. Be cool or not.
We're gonna be cool.
Toxic Radio. Get the podcasts and get infected. Got an idea for a podcast and think you have the talent to make it a reality? Already have a podcast, but thinking you could take it up a notch, but you're just not sure how to do it? Well, Toxic Entertainment has everything you need to go from podcasting to podcasting. Bring us your talent, your passion, and your best ideas. We'll bring to the table our state-of-the-art technology and comfortable facility, creative and professional staff dedicated to bringing your ideas to life, competitively priced packages to suit your goals and budget, and over 10 years of experience as a leader in the podcasting field. Toxic Entertainment offers quality and affordability that can't be beat. When you're ready to start your journey, Toxic Entertainment is here to help you reach your destination. Learn more at toxicentertainment.net or call 888-66-TOXIC to arrange a studio tour. That's 888-66-86942. Toxic Entertainment, where creativity meets passion. Does the real world seem unsatisfying?
It's boring, but it's part of my life.
Well, it's time to level up and reboot reality. Join Toxic Mike and Demonoid as they explore the ever-evolving world of virtual reality and everything it has to offer. Whether you're just starting out or you've been there from the beginning, Reboot Reality will introduce, educate, and guide you to the best in VR. Find it wherever you get podcasts, at toxicradio.net or on the free Toxic Radio app. Reboot Reality. Log in and get immersed.
What's up, everyone? It's that time of the week. Thank you for joining me as we weekly together spit in time's face. Are you there, Mike? Are you there? Testes.
I'm here.
Testes 1, 2, 3.
I'm running the knobs and buttons and sliders and stuff like that.
Nice. So speaking of knobs,
Wow.
not you per se, not right now anyway. There was this guy I wanted to bring up. He was flying and begs the question, how many times is too many? And what am I referring to? Well, Mike's going to pop up this video. You know, flying has always been an adventure, but I'm going to let this toilet paper looking dude here describe things to you as he so eloquently can.
Four times? How? 4 times? Oh my God.
So, a Southwest passenger arrested for masturbating 4 times during the flight. Wow. So not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. 4 times. 4 times. Mike, how many times is too many to masturbate on a flight?
It depends on what his in-flight movie was. Depending on what that was, it could be enough to push you over the limit, so to say.
Sounds like he was having a party.
Does that doesn't give you the Mile High Club, does it?
No, you can't give yourself the Mile High Club.
Really?
Yeah, that's not how it works. I'm sorry to take your Mile High Club off your list, Mike.
Does it have to be another human?
Uh,
Can it be like a fleshlight?
no.
We don't know if you have any extracurricular items.
Well, this is what the story talks about. First off, if someone started jerking off next to me, I'd punch him in the face. If it was a hot chick, I would have to assess the situation. But anyway, a Southwest Airlines passenger allegedly masturbated in front of a woman on 4 separate occasions on a flight from Seattle to Phoenix. So not only did he do it, he did it in front of someone. So this is what's funny. it's not really funny, but what's funny is what he said to the cops. Telling the cops he didn't do anything wrong and actually thought it was kind of kinky. That's a quote, actually. Authorities said, I'm not kidding you, this is a real story. Antoine Sherrod McGarity, it's always a McGarity, was sitting next to the horrified woman aboard Flight 3814 and exposed himself to her shortly after takeoff on Saturday. The Daily Beast reported. The sicko exposed his penis by pulling down his pants and shorts, so he went full commando, and proceeded to masturbate during the first hour of the flight, the woman said in a criminal complaint obtained by the outlet. She suspected that McGarity ejaculated because he licked a white substance from his fingers, according to the complaint. I mean, it sounds like, yep. Partying again.
Now, where's the weirdest place you've done it?
Not on a plane.
I mean, I would guess. I mean, unless you saw this story and it was like, memories.
I don't know if I really do it at weird places. I mean, she suspected that. I mean, no, not really. What about you, Mike? Church?
I would have loved to have done it at a church. Sadly, I don't go. For me, it would have to be at work.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You told us about that before.
So
Sick fuck.
that's wow.
I mean, was it in the car at your job?
In the car at my job?
Or was it at it was in the shitter?
Right, it was in one of the bathroom stalls.
So what if someone like peeked through that little crack, that access panel crack?
Well, that at the end of the day is
that's the allure
the fear,
of why you did it?
The fear, like
mean
sitting there wondering if you could get it going, before somebody comes in.
That was your kink.
As my mother text messages me during this conversation to tell me she's not approving.
The sicko exposed himself as it continues on, and the woman said in a criminal complaint obtained by the outlet, she suspected that he ejaculated. The woman began snapping photos of McGarity, who allegedly used both his left and right hands to pleasure himself. This guy's very talented, ambidextrous. He must have broke his hand before. And for about an hour before he finally fell asleep, according to the report. So I don't. What I'm trying to figure out is how this goes down. Like, so she was like, she's like, you're gonna learn today. Take some pictures and just let him finish off. I mean, when she hit the button like, yeah, ma'am, I need to.
That's the proper thing to do.
I didn't ask for airline peanuts. Can you get rid of this guy? Can I get moved, please? Because he seems to want to masturbate. I don't know, man. I mean, she's a trooper. Good for her. I guess she felt like she was trapped. But she said he pleasured himself for about an hour before he finally fell asleep. The victim reported his
hour?
Yeah.
Wow. Kudos to that guy.
The victim reported his brazen lewd behavior to a flight attendant and was allowed to move to another seat for remaining for 2 hours. The alleged perpetrator was Jarrett from Subway. No, I'm joking. It wasn't. So when interviewed by the FBI, so he had to be interviewed by the FBI, I guess because this is a federal crime. McGarity allegedly admitted to shocking behavior and was slapped with federal charges.
It's a federal crime?
It's on an airplane.
Wow.
So you just got a federale for jerking off.
Wow. That's shocking.
What happened to modesty? Couldn't he have played some pole pocket and kind of like, I don't know, play with his ball bag a little bit where no one could see it?
But if you start doing that, it's just going to lead to the finale.
What do you mean, the finale? He had to pull down his pants and his boxers? Like, he had to go full Louis C.K. with her?
You gotta.
No,
you gotta.
Man. No shame. He couldn't have, can I have a blanket, ma'am? I'm just saying, he shouldn't be doing it in general, but, I mean, no modesty whatsoever. So, McGarity advised, he asked the female witness if she mind if he masturbated. So at least he was polite there. It would have been fine before 2001. Yeah, thanks, Osama. According to the complaint cited by the outlet, according to McGarity, the female witness put her hands in the air and said, it really doesn't matter. So he thought he had the green light, apparently. The man thought her response was kind of kinky and believed she was comfortable with him masturbating, the complaint had. So he thought that was a green light to be like, oh, she wants to watch me. This guy's a sick fuck. A Southwest spokesperson told the Daily Beast that the airline has imposed a lifetime ban on McGarity. You don't say. On April 2nd, we received reports of inappropriate customer behavior on Flight 3814 from Seattle to Phoenix. Where's the fucking Sky Marshal in this situation? Hey,
they don't exist.
If you don't stop playing with your balls and exposing yourself, I might have to tase you. No, where's he at? I don't know. I guess not on this flight, right? The situation was reported to crew members while in flight, and captain contacted law enforcement to meet the aircraft upon arrival. I wonder, there was a lot of Southwest cancellations. I wonder if people are like, I'm not getting stuck at the airport. It's probably worse to get stuck in the airport than watch someone masturbate so I can get home. I wonder if it was. So I'm gonna just, grin it out. We immediately placed a passenger on our no-fly list, resulting in a lifetime ban from traveling on Southwest. Last year, a Southwest pilot was arrested for allegedly exposing his genitals during a flight from Philadelphia to Orlando, though that incident was not witnessed by passengers, according to court filings. Wow. Okay. Well, so welcome to the show, folks. That's all I have to say about that. I mean, not once, not twice, not 3, but 4 times, as our toilet paper guy says. 4 times? Like, seriously? I don't know, man. People are whacked, and he's gonna have to get a lawyer for it. So, he went through all that and didn't even get laid, and he's probably gonna have to go to sex counseling. I mean, Tiger Woods can bang like 10 porn stars and be like, you know what? I cheated on my wife. I need to check into sex rehab.
He's probably got to go door to door and let people know he's in the neighborhood. Isn't that technically I
don't think they make you do that. I think what it is because I have a credit report.
It's a sex crime.
Well, if you're a registered sex offender, so I don't know if that happens until you get convicted. But I will tell you that I had on certain credit reporting agencies, they'll tell you if someone's in your neighborhood or proximity. If someone moved in there, that's a registered sex offender, so you can pay for that information too. If I had kids, I definitely would. But I'm gonna punch someone in the face. I mean, Mike, what would you do if you were in a seat and the guy was just whacking it?
It really depends on where we're at. I mean, you're talking about an airplane?
Yeah.
Just close my eyes and go to sleep.
Just put on the VR goggles.
There's not much. Yeah. Well, if I was in an airplane,
and hope he doesn't mushroom tattoo you.
I would probably 100% be in my VR, and I would just go back to it. Like, what
if you were in your what if you had your VR headset on, and you started hearing a hard tap on the plastic?
Wow. Find my happy place and go there.
Be like, wait, what was that? What was that sound? That sounded very, very, very girthy. I don't know.
What does girthy sound like?
I don't know. It sounds like something hard getting hit against
hollow
plastic.
Have you heard girthy before?
I mean, we should look that up if girthy has a sound.
I guess it would be like a dull thud, I guess.
Probably. So,
on today's question, does girthy have a sound?
It was a shower thought.
Jesus.
Does girthy have a sound? So, speaking of being admitted to, and I got to confirm this, but they say Will Smith admitted to a luxury rehab clinic after slapping Chris Rock. I didn't see that coming. I did, and I'm glad he's getting help.
This is official because I've been keeping up on this story.
Well, I'll let my producer see if this is official.
Okay.
I'm going to give it about a 75% chance of being correct. But if it hasn't happened, it will happen. Because that's the only way he can save face in this situation as it's played out.
I don't know if that's the only way he can save face.
Well, one of the many ways.
I mean, if he up and just blamed it all on Jana and just bounced and left her, that would be kind of saving face, don't you think?
That ship has sailed many moons ago.
You think so? I think if he came out and said, look, this is the type of shit I deal with. This is...
Everybody knows the type of shit he's dealing with, and he's just not mad that people are making fun of him about it. I mean, listen, her son...
Yeah, so I'm not seeing it reported anywhere, so I'm going to have to say that I'm not sure if that is true. Where I went to, the one spot that we know would jump all over this crazy fast and with a rock-hard penis, TMZ, the one thing they are reporting on is the Instagram video I saw that surfaced, where it's a very awkward Instagram clip of Jada putting Will Smith on the spot during out of nowhere. She just puts him on the spot and starts talking to him, and he gets really annoyed.
Yeah, well, Ricky Gervais weighed in on this, and the alopecia community is coming after him, they say. This is via the New York Post. alopecia community comes for Ricky Gervais. It's not a disability, so that's what they say.
Uh-huh.
They think it's a bald-faced lie. Comedian Ricky Gervais sparked ire among the alopecia community after mocking people who allegedly labeled Jada Pinkett Smith's hair loss as a disability in the wake of Chris Rock's controversial Oscars gag. I'm going to say something right here. I don't think it's a disability. I think it's something a lot of Americans deal with, and especially when you get older. And I think her privilege of being rich and a movie star makes her be able to say, oh, it's so much bigger than it is, and people got to go to work with it every day, put on wigs, hats, males suffer from it. I believe, didn't Bruce Willis get it recently too, I was reading?
What, alopecia?
Or something like that.
No, Bruce Willis has an actual disorder, a disease, which affects his speech and ability to read. No, what?
I'm just joking. No,
my father had alopecia. It is not as common as you're making it sound.
What, you mean the hair thing?
Yes.
I don't know. They say a lot of people. They say it's not uncommon at an older age.
My father got it at about 23 years old.
Wow.
He lost every bit of hair on his body. And
Mike wishes that would happen to his back, including myself.
What? And I do know that it affected him mentally and emotionally. And he had a lot of problems because he was a young man in his early 20s. And, no
Probably
eyebrows, no eyelashes, no hair.
Oh,
nothing
at all?
Nothing. He lost it all.
So apparently you develop it by 30 years of age.
Yeah, and not all. But my father, up until Jada Pinkett Smith, I hadn't heard of anybody else having it. So it wasn't that common in my life, at least. It was my father.
Yeah, well, it's not. So it's a condition, I believe, not a disability as it's described. But again, I'm not a doctor here.
Yeah.
But in the wake of Chris Rock's controversial Oscars gag, he uploaded a clip on Twitter and reposted it to TikTok, where it boasts 7.5 million views. This was the lamest joke I would have ever told, and it was a lame joke. The UK comic 60 scoffed on camera regarding Rock's joke, and Gervais is one to tell people to get over yourself, no matter what walk of life you come from. And I kind of agree with him, right?
Right.
He was also the one to say, hey, to all the celebrities, we don't necessarily want to hear what you think about politics all the time, too. And I kind of agree with him to a degree in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying anybody shouldn't be able to talk about it, but he says, for one thing, I thought they were overreacting, claiming incredulously. Someone said if it was joking about her disability. Well, I'm going a bit thin. I'm disabled. The office master I mocked while pointing at his head. I can park right up next to Tesco's now in a disabled parking. He's basically saying, I'm fat. That's a disease. I'm fat and balding. He snarked before collapsing into laughter. And a lot of people were upset about that. I wasn't, though. I think that was overplayed as a crutch to justify the actions, in my opinion. So, insensitive jokes get said all the time, and I will go back to this after I'm done rehashing the Will Smith thing. Regina Hill made a joke about their open relationship in the beginning of the night. So, and he was like clapping and laughing. He almost did a backflip. So, I can't even tell that she has that going on because she's had short hair a lot of different times. So, who even knew, right? And I didn't even know what that was until then. Did you? You said you didn't, right? Until your dad dealt with it. I said
my dad had it.
But you didn't hear a lot. You said you didn't hear a lot of people talking about it.
No, but I knew what it was because my dad had it.
Right.
I knew exactly what it was. I knew what it did. I was worried that I was going to have it or my brothers were going to have it. But I mean, as soon as you say alopecia, I know exactly what it is.
Yeah. Well, I know you don't have alopecia.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So yeah, he's saying why get offended?
Well, no, I also think that Gervais is trying to put forth that in comedy, everything's on the table. You're making jokes. It's comedy. You're supposed to be. You have to poke fun at something for the
here's
laugh.
The thing.
You're joking. You're not saying it seriously.
Gervais continues on, and I thought it was a softball joke because he said if I was hosting the Oscars, I would have went after their open relationship, which a comedian did earlier in the night, and he didn't even go there. You know what I mean? I feel like Chris Rock was like, dude, it's a G.I. Jane joke. Like he's saying, like, dude, I didn't even go to the open relationship, like obvious joke that I could have went to, like Regina Hill did earlier in the night. So Just thought it was funny. Ricky Gervais is like, yeah, you guys got to get over yourself. So, and I agree. I agree with him 100%. I don't always agree with Ricky, but, listen, he's the one that says you got to get over yourself. By the way, have you ever seen the show he did with Carl? It's the guy's name is Carl, and he travels around the world.
No.
Oh, you got to see that. It's hilarious. You never seen that show?
No, I've never seen it.
I forget what it's called off the top of my head.
I think it was on during a time when I was extremely poor and barely watched any TV because I wasn't paying for anything.
Were you reading books?
I don't read books. I play video games. Do you not know who I am?
I know, but that's why
I play
that's
video
why I hate
games.
you. Is
You
that
spend-
you're like I was extremely poor.
You
but
spend
I had
$60 on a video game and you play it for 7 months.
Here, are you trying to justify the math here?
I mean, that is very good justification for the math.
You think so?
What do you mean? Do you think so? You spend $60 on one game, you play it for 7 months
You
straight
need
to
an
a
HD
year.
TV. You need internet. You need a console. So you're acting like you just get the game and you play it, but you had to buy all that other stuff.
How long does a console last for?
4 years.
Okay, so 4 years. How much does a console cost?
I don't know how much does internet cost every month.
How much does a console cost?
$500 roughly.
Okay, so 500, 4 years, a little bit over $100 a year, plus internet, which I was paying $60 a month, which wasn't even close to any kind of cable bill that would have been put on top of that. And then a video game that lasts about a year, sometimes 2 years.
So you were first world poor. That's what first world problems.
First world problems.
First world poor.
What is first world poor?
Uh,
Because, I mean, people that are legitimately poor still have some kind of internet, still have some kind of video game system.
in the first world, not in the third world.
I mean, I guess if you want to go like real poor, no, I wasn't on the streets. No, I wasn't eating out of the trash.
well, you would do that anyway. You said regularly.
I mean, I have no
if you had-
problem with it. Yeah, I have no qualms with having to eat out of the trash. I, at one point in my life, was researching how to live out of your car and tips and tricks on how to do that because it was a real possibility for a couple of months.
That's a quick way to get laid. So, listen, I will tell you this. I'm glad that you brought up the internet thing. So I came across an article because a lot of you listen to the show know I have a hard on for these communication companies that just want to have horrible customer service, and there's no alternative to what service they offer, especially when I feel like internet at this time is really a public utility. But with that being said, Comcast, as this story talks about, wanted a man to pay $19,000 after falsely advertising service on the street. Comcast, their ordering website, falsely stated the internet service was available. So, they said the question you might be asking is, what's it like to spend $10,000 for internet service and wait 6 months for Comcast to hook it up? So that means they wanted $10,000 before you even hooked it up. Isn't that great?
It's awesome.
Are you surprised by the story, Mike?
No, because Comcast is a piece of shit.
Yep, they suck. Roney and his wife and child moved from Virginia to Washington State in May 2021. Roney told Ars, this is from ArsTechnica.com, that before closing on the house in the city of Buckley, he checked Comcast's website to confirm that he could sign up for broadband. Would you not move to an area if you couldn't get broadband?
I mean, yeah. I mean, who doesn't have broadband? That's ridiculous.
There are parts of the country that do not have broadband. Actually, more than you think. I would say more than half the country. That's why anytime there's a big merger, the government tries to get these telecom companies to commit to bringing wireless broadband to rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're at a distinct disadvantage without the high-speed internet. That's why you wouldn't move to that area, and I agree with you, Mike. I wouldn't either. Can you imagine downloading a game like, oh yeah, the best we have here is DSL? Like, what?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I went ahead and placed my order and scheduled the install for the day after we moved in or whatever. As he continues on, I think it was about 4 days before closing on the house then that Comcast canceled my order. He said, Roney said that someone from Comcast called him with the message that your house is not serviceable. Comcast initially told Roney that he would have to pay over $19,000 for a line extension. So that's where this comes in. A line extension, I guess, meaning they're going to extend the service to get him to get to his house, right?
Uh-huh.
After spending a couple of months investigating options, Roney hired a contractor to do part of the work and paid Comcast to do the rest for a total of about $10,000. Construction took a bit longer than expected, and there was one final frustration after the line extension was completed. Comcast wouldn't send an installer to Roney's house because the company's records incorrectly showed the work wouldn't be done until April. Roney had to contact the senior vice president. I've had to go up this high for an installation before in my experience too, but not for a line extension, to get the issue sorted and finally get service in mid-January. ISPs give false availability information. We confirmed last week that Comcast online ordering system was still giving false availability information on Roney Street at another house about 400 feet further down Roney Street. The Xfinity.com address checker said that the internet service is available and the website let us add an internet plan to the cart for the purchase. That was on March 29th, and we notified Comcast of the likely error. Comcast has since corrected it. Of course they did, because, now they have all this exposure. But, customers getting false information. Interesting. 19 grand, huh?
Ridiculous.
So, Roney said his neighbor is on the edge of suburbia. Buckley is a small city, but isn't in the middle of nowhere. I'm 5 minutes from Costco. So, I wouldn't consider it rural. I guess that's a measuring stick for that. He said, I've lived in rural. I had cows in my backyard, but I do not have cows now. Admittedly, there is a horse in the neighborhood. I guess if you have internet, you can't have a horse in the neighborhood, but okay. So his neighbor already had a Comcast connection, but the cable lines hadn't been extended to Roney's house. The thing that really frustrated me is my neighbor had internet, he said. I confirmed that by checking the address. And when I moved in, I met him and told him, yeah, Comcast came down the street to install service, but they don't go down the side street. So Comcast's first estimate was $19,052 for the extension because the home is approximately 503 feet away from our plant. And unfortunately, the location is not serviceable by Comcast at this time. 503 feet. Amazing. The part I'm struggling with is the neighbor who is, as far as I could tell, the same distance from the plant had Comcast since 2013. So, this reeks of they could have did something, but they decided not to, and then the company's so big that there's no checks and balances. I mean, 503 feet, they couldn't make that happen, right? Isn't that crazy?
When you just run an Ethernet cable.
Yeah, right. I would have tried to run some kind of elaborate network from my neighbor's house and pay him money for it. Let's split the cable bill, bro.
That's what they did in the 80s.
Yeah. Roney paid a vendor about $2,900 to install 153 feet of conduit underground, mostly under his driveway. That significantly reduced the amount of work Comcast needed to do. So it's just, I would have went nuts if I was this guy. I know you would have went nuts, Mike. I would have went nuts. I mean,
well, I've had my fair share of dealing with Comcast and being very verbally violent with them over the phone because of lack of customer service and lack of being able to fix something, or just flat out saying we fixed it and the problem still exists for a month going on, and then you don't have the service yet they expect you to still pay. When you ask for some compensation, they give you $50 when your bill is $160. Yeah,
and they still try to charge him an installation fee.
Ridiculous.
And then he got it credited back. And this story is outrageous. And
completely and utterly.
This is what happens when you don't have multiple companies, and this is why they have antitrust laws in the United States, especially with something that I feel is almost like a utility, which is internet. There's no incentive for them. Everybody says that, these mergers need to happen so it creates competition. It does the opposite. There is no incentive for competition. There is no incentive for improving. There is no incentive for them to improve pricing or services to offer to their customers. They don't have to do shit because no one else can provide the service. They literally don't have to do shit, and there's nothing you could do.
Mm-hmm.
So, the FCC, which is one of the few government organizations that actually do anything, submit more accurate broadband. They said they have to get better with that, but I mean, you got to do more than that. So, a new Washington state law took effect on January 22nd or January 1st, 2022, about a half year after Roney moved into Washington, saying that getting accurate information about internet service at homes for sale is a long-standing problem that shows little sign of disappearing. So the law requires the home sellers to disclose whether the property currently has internet service and who the provider is. There you go. Living without Comcast. And there's pictures of his setup. It's pretty bad. And Ronnie said that wasn't his first bad Comcast experience. What a surprise! What a surprise. They're repeat offenders of shitty customer service, I feel.
They are, and I have friends who work for Comcast, and they do try to defend them, but it usually peters out very quickly.
Yeah. There's no defense. I had a time when I was getting installed, and the installation guy no-showed 4 times in a row, and I had to leave work each time to get there. And so at that time, they were the only one, and I was in Philadelphia. Now I can get Fios. And as soon as I was able to get Fios, I was like, fuck you later. And the rest is history. Now, Fios, don't get me wrong, they're a pain in the ass too sometimes, but it's a lot better. And I think their Fios internet is a lot better of a product because you get good upload and download speeds. Whereas they front end it on the, whatever the right term is for the, they're like, oh, our internet's fast and you with the upload speed. So the download speeds rather. So, but with a lot of content creating going on, upload is becoming more important these days, right? So yeah, I don't know. Crazy. Are you going to buy some Zuck Bucks, Matt? I mean,
what is my
Mike,
name?
Mike. It's been a rough day. By the way, what sucks more, driving in the rain or the snow?
I think the rain. The rain only because it's for me. I take my time whether rain or snow, but people disregard the rain as nothing and they drive like assholes. The snow, the asshole ratio is cut down a lot because most people do take their time a little bit more so and are more careful in the snow.
Yeah, I'd rather drive in the snow than the rain. The rain is, I dealt with it today. People either drive too slow or too fast, and it just creates a bottleneck everywhere. I went over the Ben Franklin Bridge, and I drove through a black plume of smoke. I thought that I was entering World War III or something. It was so dark. I thought there was a thunderstorm coming, and it turned out under the bridge on 95, there was a tractor trailer on fire. And I'm like, well, that's good. Yeah, so that was on the way over here. It just seems like when it rains, people either can't drive at all, or it's the people that are flying 1,000,000 miles per hour in hydroplane and crash.
Trying to prove that they can drive better than you in the rain.
Yeah, or they're just oblivious to what's going on. Right? And to me, and it almost seems like the traffic gets worse when it rains, and it just gets slower. So it's like everything's clogged up. Like, to get here, I try to come here before a certain time to avoid it, but when I can't, I have to go in this area. I have to go through pretty much every major traffic thoroughfare available to get here. And if it's bad, when it's normal traffic, it's not horrible, but when it's raining, it's bad. It's like an hour and 10 minutes. And it's because you're stopping and going, 76 sucks. Then you get on 676. Then you get on Jersey by 42 where it merges. What blows my mind about 42, Mike? Where they made more lanes and it still gets more clogged. They made a fucking bridge to go over those lanes and it still gets clogged. It's like it didn't help. Are you amazed by
roads?
That? Yeah. Aren't you amazed by that? Like, wasn't that in part to be done to ease congestion?
Yeah, but they only have limited space to do it, and
they made a bridge that goes over, and there's a tunnel that goes under now, and then they widen the lanes, and it's still, because you know what it is?
Yeah,
there could be 100 lanes. People don't know how to fucking merge. That's all it is. It's the truth. They don't know how to merge. People are sitting there like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Or, I'm that guy, though, because I get fed up with people. If I'll see everybody in a line to get off an exit all the way back, and I will drive up to the front and cut in. I'm that guy.
You're that guy?
Yep.
You're that dick?
Yep. And I feel like
everybody hates you.
That's okay. You know what I love?
What?
When I'm off the exit before them. Because I'm at the party before you. And you're going home in a horse carriage because you're slow. Oh, yeah. Mom, get in line with all the horses. We'll be right there.
Get him out of here!
Yeah, fuck that. I mean, people love waiting in line. It's the truth. Have you ever been at a grocery store and you're in line and it's almost like a mirage to you. You look at it and you see another cashier and you're like, why is there nobody in line there but the light's on and everybody's in line over here? And then the person says, I'm open. Now, some people freeze and they look at the other people. Not me. I run to the line. I'm like, I'm going to beat you there because I want to get the fuck out of here. Like, people are like, they look at it like it's a trick. Like, is she open? Are we allowed to buy things here? Why is her light on? I don't understand what this lady's talking about. And everybody, like farm animals, stay in the same line. It's amazing to me.
Do you ever yell at them?
No, I just try to get there. What I do see people do sometimes, which I think is fucked up, is I'll see a cashier closing and they'll purposely go in that line when they see them turn the light off and look at them like, can you squeeze me in?
Yes.
And I'm like, you're fucked up. They're getting off work. They turned it off. You weren't in line before and you're giving them a guilt trip. I've seen that too. I think that's total bullshit.
Yeah, people are dicks.
You've done that, Mike.
Yes.
And not tipped.
Why am I tipping at the supermarket?
You're not, but we're going to do, I'm working on a segment for a future show called Will Mike Tip or Will He Won't? And I'm going to come up with different situations, and it's going to be Will Mike Tip or Will He Won't?
I can give a spoiler right now.
There's no situation you would tip in. Not one.
No, there are situations. You're correct.
That's why this can be a good game because you guys are going to bet Mike.
Again,
won't tip most of the time.
I've said in previous episodes where the scenario that I would tip would be.
Well, if you listen to previous episodes, you will be prepared to guess correctly where Mike will just do just a tip.
Yes.
Just a tip or no tip?
There you go.
Yep. Join us.
In
future episodes when we spit in Time's face.
Put your pants on and join us.
But are you getting Zuck Bucks?
I don't know what that is.
I'm glad you asked. Meta may have given up its, as you probably know, its Demium cryptocurrency, but the company is still exploring finance products. According to New Financial Times report, Zuck Bucks, named for the Meta founder, Chairman and CEO Mark Zuckerberg, are unlikely to be cryptocurrency. So maybe they'll be like Delilah's dollars, which is, a voucher you can buy at a strip club. It's leaning towards introducing in-app tokens that would certainly be controlled by the company, similar to those used in gaming apps such as Roblox currency in popular children's game Roblox. I could see this coming to the Oculus platform or the Meta Quest platform, obviously.
I don't see anything wrong with this. Not only do
I don't see anything wrong with it at all.
Not only do I not see anything wrong with it, but also other apps right now are just doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, a lot of games do that.
Well, I mean, games for a very, very long time have had in-game currency. I mean, if you're playing Fortnite, you can't just buy something for regular money. You have to buy their tokens and then purchase it. I mean, that's kind of the norm everywhere you go in terms of video games. But also within the realm of TikTok, I'm trying to find it. They also have it where you have to buy coins in order to do. If I want to pay to promote my TikTok, or if I want to pay to tip somebody on TikTok, I've got to use their tokens. And they only sell their tokens in a certain incremental way. So even if you only want a few, I'm right here. Here we go. Even if you only want a few of these coins, you have to buy a certain amount. And of course, the amount that you would normally need for certain activities that you want to do with these coins never matches up properly. So it's
on purpose,
right? On purpose. So the fact
that's fucking annoying. I hope someone, if they're going to do that, they start getting honest. It's almost like when you go to a clothes store, like Express comes to mind for me. I know, Mike, I don't know if you've ever shopped there or not, where they'll say, spend $99 and you get off $20, right?
Right.
But everything that you get mysteriously adds up to be $97.89.
Right.
And you're searching for like a $2 bullshit product to get to it.
Yeah.
Or it makes you spend $30 to $40 extra. I really wish that part of that would go away, where it's just like, this is the amount you want and you can get, and there's no tier to the currency. Rather,
Right.
it's just you can buy as much as you want, because that's fucking annoying. Because
So-
then you have shit that you're never going to use.
Yeah, right here. 65 TikTok coins is 99 cents. 330 TikTok coins is $5. 660.
Yeah, it's like
coins,
Delilah's dollars.
$9.99. 1,321, $19.99. And then 3,303 is $49.99. I checked to see how much it would cost me to promote one of my TikToks, and it came up as 3,000 coins, but I would have to buy 3,303 coins in order to do it, so I'd be left with 303 coins that I don't even want. So the Facebook thing
That's
is
built-in waste for profit for them. That's,
Right.
That's what I call it. That's bullshit.
absolutely, and the whole thing is the reason why the Facebook, the Zuckerberg, the Meta version of these coins is going to cause people to be like, what the fuck, when it's already implemented in so many avenues that we use on a daily basis, is because they're going to call it Zuckbucks.
So here's the funny thing. I wanted to ask people this question. Zuckbucks, yeah, that's. I guess it rolls off the tongue. Whatever.
It does. I
Um,
like it already. I want to buy some.
so for those of you who don't know what a Delilah dollar is, I'm gonna explain it to you. For especially people who don't live in the area I live in. So when you go to a strip club, it's by design. A lot of times they won't have an ATM machine there, which makes no sense when you think about it, right? So what they'll do is they'll give you what they call a Delilah's dollar, right? So for every, you got to spend $10 for every 9 Delilah's dollars, right? So that's essentially what this is, the version, not the Zuckbuck, but what me and Mike were talking about. Now the alternative is you can go next door there and go to the ATM, and there's a $7 ATM fee.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that I want to press charges if that happened to me. Like, you're going to jail. You're going to jail for this. But, you know, now if you're smart, you'll walk around the corner to the gas station and pay like a $3 fee. But, you know, it's all about capitalism, right, folks? So I just think, you know, it's the same type of thing, and it just kind of cracks me up. So, hey, Mike, did you, I saw this article too about malls, and would you ever live in a mall?
Yeah.
You would? Okay. Now, is that because you grew up in the? I would say in
Oh,
our
wait,
when we
wait.
grew up, this was the glory time for malls. When we grew up.
When you say live in a mall, there's a couple things that you can mean. You can mean just be at the mall all the time when it's a fully functioning and open mall. You can mean a mall that has been furnished to be an actual house type of area where different rooms are different areas and it's all to yourself. Or you can mean live in a mall that has been abandoned and now you're just a vagabond, homeless, but inside of a mall.
No, we're talking about a developed area.
Okay.
So, I'm pretty sure the option to live in a mall as a homeless person is widely available all over the country. Hop onto a freight train with your hobo bag, and you can do it anytime you want.
Right. So what were you talking about? One, just being at the mall all the time?
Right. So Philly's biggest mall owner wants to build thousands of apartments on its properties to help pay its debts. Oddly enough, these malls are having a hard time competing because the mall is dying. And
Right.
part of the reason the mall is dying is because people shop differently. And on top of that, their pricing model hasn't really changed enough. I haven't really looked into it in recent years, but I know from working there and having been a manager in a mall of stores that their price per square foot is out of control, right? So the King of Prussia Mall did this, but they weren't really losing money. That's not the mall. I'm sorry, they didn't do it. They built a shopping center
Mm-hmm.
that has every store you can imagine in it, and in that same parking lot is like luxury apartments. Like literally, if you were a fucking hermit shut in and didn't want to move or drive or anything like that, you like there's a Wegmans there and all that. You can literally like exist in that space. There's bars, I think there's even a movie theater. Not even joking. It's kind of crazy, kind of weird too. But so it's called Priet Malls. Philly's biggest mall owner wants to build thousands of apartments. Plymouth Meeting Mall is one of them, but facing more than $2 billion in debt, a Woonitz mall business, the Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust has an audacious plan to change its fortunes. The region's biggest mall owner wants to become a developer and put 5,200 apartments on 6 mall sites as a way to raise cash and bring shoppers and diners onto its properties. Now, the interesting thing about that is I used to work at Plymouth Meeting Mall, and they're one of the malls listed in here. Willow Grove Mall, Morristown Mall in South Jersey, Exton Square Mall, and Plymouth Meeting Mall, as I just mentioned. And that mall, Plymouth Meeting Mall, used to have a really big parking lot, and it had IKEA in there. Well, IKEA left and went to another site, like down the road, and then that mall decided we're going to put a Whole Foods in the parking lot, and they took a bunch of the parking space to make it look fuller and put a bunch of different stores and restaurants in these in the parking spots, right? Thinking that it would drive traffic to the mall. Well, here we are. They're still having that problem, right? They even put a Legoland in this mall, which is a big attraction for anybody that's in Legos. I'm not, but Mike, I know, isn't Laura's little one and your little one in the Legos?
No.
He's not a Lego guy? I didn't know that.
But
a lot
Legos,
of
he doesn't touch them.
a lot of kids are. You got to make a reservation to get to these stores, and I'm talking like pre-COVID, and so good for you. Your feet will be happy for it, Mike. So, they put that in there, and I used to manage a store in there, an AT&T store, which is a very expensive retail store, and they spend $1 million+ building these stores out, but it still isn't driving traffic into the malls. And this isn't even a big mall. This mall also has a Dave & Buster's attached to it, and it still doesn't bring traffic into the fucking mall because you need to have destination stores at this point, right? A King of Prussia is different because they're going to have malls because of who has money being near the main line and stuff like that, like a Louis Vuitton. You're not going to have that at Plymouth Meeting Mall. So that's a destination mall. It always has been. People come from all over to go to King of Prussia Mall. But all these other malls, they don't. And so they want to put these, these apartments there. The timing might be good for Priya. Housing prices and rents are soaring due in part to unmet needs, Freddie Mac. So maybe they would be smart and not try to gouge people for like $2,500 a month for these apartments, and they would fill them up. But they probably won't because they're greedy fucks. The giant mortgage buyer last year put the national housing shortage almost 4 million units, triggered by the construction decline after 2008 Great Recession and extending through the pandemic. Priya's strategy reflect those of other mall owners who are replacing department stores with anchors with healthcare facilities, hotels, entertainment centers, gyms, and apartments. Now, I've seen this already in this same mall that I mentioned, and they put a healthcare facility in there and it went out of business. They tried to put a theme park in there, went out of business. I've seen movie theaters go out of business. They've tried to put gyms in there. That's worked to an extent. But apartments, I've seen it in a few places, but I haven't seen it in a mall yet. So the thing here is, if you live in the mall, like let's say they made apartments out of like a Macy's, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Probably you're going to be fat if you live in a mall because the food court's right there. I mean, just imagine you could walk out your house and walk down to the food court. I think it's an interesting concept.
It is an interesting concept, and what it makes me think of is basically your life becomes like you're on a cruise ship nonstop. You walk out of your apartment and you are literally inside of a gallo or whatever they call it. You're in an area where you can go and get clothes and food and shop and maybe even a restaurant, get some drinks.
Well, think about it.
You don't have to go anywhere.
Exactly, and that's the point where if they did this right, it could work. I should trademark this show just in case they steal the idea. But if they did it right, it could work. If you didn't make it too expensive, people can live there, especially for people that maybe don't drive, and you had all these things accessible where they literally didn't even have to go outside to go to a place, bad weather including, and you bring the retail to the customer by bringing in people living there, you have a lot better of a shot, right, of making money, and that space then becomes more valuable. So you're literally importing the people to buy from this retail space. I mean, Mike, I don't know, you're from this area. One mall that used to be a really big mall was Neshaminy Mall in Pennsylvania. Had a big movie theater attached to it. It's a fucking ghost town there. Like my buddy runs a store there and he does very well. But for the food court and everything, like you'll see stores like Hollister stores that you could tell was a Hollister store that's was only outfitted for there. Fucking dead, gone, nothing in it. And like I grew up in the mall era, and malls really got really popular even before I was born. But like it was like that's where everybody was going at a certain point, right? Can you drop me off to the mall? All the action was going down there, and that went away. And then Amazon came, and that was that, you know.
But there are, and I actually shocked that I've seen this. I believe it's on Netflix or on Prime. I can't remember, but there is documentaries that explain why malls at one point in history just started popping up everywhere. And just like with everything, there was a loophole in some kind of tax thing or something with the government with businesses. There was a loophole that people had found that if a shopping center was under a roof and within the same localized area, that they could get away with this insane tax break or tax incentive. And it was meant to be, just like with all laws and all tax
Meant to do
initiatives,
something else than except
it was to, but yeah, it was meant for these outdoor rows in cities of stores.
instead of be
Instead of
exploited by-
instead of exploited in a way
Like
where
a
you
real
can
estate group
condense
does.
them into this one area. It was for the
It's
cities.
funny how that works because if they needed to get that law changed, they would petition for it. But now the petitions are like, I don't see anything. I don't know. Yeah, so it was supposed to give them a tax break to build there. Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
Yeah, so if you look now, those tax like all the stuff that was the incentives aren't there anymore. So a lot of these malls are really can only survive if their business model and the stores within there survive and their rent is enough to make them survive. That's why a lot of them are dying off and finding these different methods
Yeah.
of staying
Well,
afloat.
what you used to have to pay for like a kiosk, maybe seasonally, was outrageous at a mall.
Yeah.
And a lot of them would ask to see financials if you're a bigger company, like before you rent it, to know what they could charge you, which I thought was outlandish, like a Starbucks or something like that. But even Starbucks were like, "Fuck you guys, we're going to open our own stores," and Starbucks is known for going into an area and overpaying for real estate, so it drives its competition out of business.
I mean, there's a mall not that far from here called the Echelon Mall. Well,
the
it used to be called the
Echelon
Echelon Mall.
Yeah, I
Now
remember
it's
that
the
place.
Echelon Community Center
Mhm.
because some of like the mall's still there, but only half of the stores are there.
But-
a lot of them are boarded up, and half of the mall is cut off, and they built houses and
You know what I'm
apartments
upset
there.
about? That I didn't get to go to the Burlington Center Mall before I got knocked down to see what it looked like inside and abandon it. It was an abandoned mall. I would like to explore abandoned mall. I think it's kind of cool looking, but I do think Echelon Mall though I always felt was like an extra mall that wasn't really needed in that area because there were other malls not too far from there.
Right.
I mean,
For me, the Echelon Mall was the best mall in the air. Voorhees Town Center. I'm sorry, it's called the Voorhees Town Center. The Echelon Mall was the best because it had
Cherry Hill was always the
it
best
had,
in there.
no. Echelon Mall. It had Exhilarama, which had the first VR arcades in the world in the early '90s.
Now we know why I went out of business, folks.
Yeah, it had the movie theater. Whereas if you went on, I forget what day of the week, if you went on a certain day, it was dollar movies.
I remember that. I remember that place.
And
But they were older movies though. They weren't like freshly released.
it
They
was,
were like
yeah. They had everything. It was just
$15
so
for your
good.
popcorn though.
It was so great.
Yeah, so I think that concept, I don't know about you guys, let me know in the chat if you think, but I mean, I could exist in that area. I could see some cool things about it, right? Especially where this would work probably in an area where it's really cold. But malls feel like just naked, shallow vessels of old sounds, and you used to hear like the fountains going, and now they're like, yeah, we can't even afford the water anymore. That's all. The pennies have been stolen. The fountains dried up. Staples, the stores closed, and I think retailers have to reinvent retail. I think you're going to see Amazon do this too. They're going to start. Mark my words, you're going to start seeing stores pop up that like are going to be called like the Amazon outlet stores, right? It's going to happen. And where they're reselling shit that people returned, like you can get stuff cheaper sometimes from Amazon because it's repackaged or slightly damaged. You're going to see that, and they're going to wait until, and it's happening right now, that real estate in the retail world hits rock bottom. So,
Yep.
With that being said, we got all that going on, and I just think that's funny, man. I read that article. It was at the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I just was like, wow, man. My question is, maybe it's something they could do. So, Priya executives point to recent positive signals, though. Through February, foot traffic jumped from 14% over 2021 in its core malls, which is bullshit because it jumped because the pandemic was going up. They're such liars with that. Like, I dealt with mall managers, like, oh, our foot traffic jumped up. That's because people weren't going out and they wanted to pretend they had to learn life all over again. A standard industry measurement, that's what it is, reached an all-time high of $618 a square foot in a year ending in February. $618 a square foot. That's a lot of money. So, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be interesting. And I think they're going to reinvent retail. And, maybe they'll try to make it super exclusive where you have to have a membership to the mall. I could see something stupid happen like that. Like, it's Costco, but you live there and you got to pay to go in. Right? I don't know. We'll see. But that's it pretty much for that. It's 7:15, folks. I know we started late, but we're going to end it pretty soon. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening in. We got plenty of stuff coming. This week we won't be doing Birds Deep, but we'll be doing it next week after the show. You got Reboot Reality Friday night, and you got Paradelphia coming up about 8 o'clock. Am I correct, Mike? 8 p.m. for Paradelphia? 8 p.m., and we got all that good stuff happening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for riding with us. And this is the Godfrey, not saying goodbye, just saying take it deep.